Hello everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Kingdom Chat with me, Ashley Kraft, and today we're going to be talking about holiday time at the Disneyland Resort. My family and I were just there on Veterans Day on November 12th. It was very crowded, very busy, but we had an amazing time. It was our first time experiencing Christmas at the Disneyland Resort, and I want to tell you all about what we experienced. So first of all, I want to talk themed attractions. This is what you cannot miss about going to the Disneyland Resort during the holidays. Number one, the Haunted Mansion. It's been rethemed completely to the Nightmare Before Christmas. So if you went during Halloween time, it'll be the same thing, not different at all. But if you've been at other times of the year, completely different. Some people use the term overlay to talk about how they changed the Haunted Mansion. It is far from just plastering over something new. Completely different. They have a new soundtrack, they have several original animatronics, a different story going on. I loved it. If you are a big fan of Haunted Mansion, you'll know what I talk about when I say the elevator scene at the beginning of the attraction. Typically, during that part of the ride, you see different characters meeting their demise on the stretching pictures. For Nightmare Before Christmas, they have completely different pictures and a totally different audio track. I was so surprised that they did all that. Also, the ceiling had a different graphic and included Jack Skellington. So much fun. When you go on the ride, you are greeted by a totally different scene with Madame Leota. They have projections that replace the typical musical instruments that you see during that section. So much fun. My favorite part of the whole ride is in the ballroom scene where they have the different ghosts dancing. They have a giant gingerbread house being constructed in there, and they actually pipe the smell of gingerbread in right to the cars, and it smells like it. And so it's just so, like, it feels festive, it feels different, really, really fun. Another huge plus about this is that sometimes the Haunted Mansion can be too scary or too creepy for some of our youngest fans. If you have kids like that, I really recommend them trying Haunted Mansion during this time because it's really a lot less scary than it typically is. It's very, very lighthearted, super duper silly, and it doesn't have that kind of creepier feeling that it normally carries. It's much more bubbly and fun. So my kids loved it. They weren't scared at all. And typically they're a little bit nervous when riding. They weren't nervous at all this time. So if you have a kid in that category, I do recommend giving it a try. The second thing that you need to do is It's a Small World Holidays. Also considered an overlay, but totally different. This was just blew me out of the water, literally. But they do a different soundtrack. They have the original It's a Small World song going, it's a small world after all, but they have a different recording. And then they blend it with different holiday carols and tunes that you would recognize. So Jingle Bells, I don't know, but all the different carols that you'd recognize, and they have it in the different countries. And then they also have a bunch of different decorations and also season's greetings in those languages. So I thought it was so fun. One of my favorite parts was that in the scene where there's the surfers and mermaids, they were singing jingle shells, jingle all the way. And I just thought that was really sweet and a fun change to the song. I also really loved they did the smells like Haunted Mansion, but at one point they had peppermint, and it just smelled like candy cane. And I think that is magical and delicious and so happy. Disney does such a great job of encapsulating a memory and a thought into their attractions, and they did such a perfect job with that, with the peppermint smell especially. The third attraction that I wanted to talk about is Luigi's Rollicking Roadsters. This is located in Cars Land at California Adventure. And what they did for that for holiday time is they changed the soundtrack. So instead of the typical soundtrack of Luigi singing his songs, it's Luigi singing holiday carols. So honestly, it's not very different. It's pretty much exactly the same except the different soundtrack. So I wouldn't go out of your way to experience it, but it's fun to try something different and new. So if you're in Cars Land, if you have extra time, it's fun to check it out. Next, I want to talk about the different decorations that they have. Again, this was my first time to the Disneyland Resort during the holiday season, and I was blown away by the different decorations that they had. We started out our day in California Adventure, and we're there at Rope Drop. They had holly and decorations and everything out. So beautiful. They had a huge banner a huge entryway actually that said Festival of Holidays, which is the festival that's going on at California Adventure, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But they just, literally every tree, every lamppost, everything has lights, holly, greenery, clothes, you name it, it's all there. If you are having trouble getting into the Christmas spirit, you will not be having trouble after you visit the Disneyland Resort. It honestly was so festive and so sweet. Over on the Disneyland side, same thing. The castle has snow drifted on it, just beautiful. Lights, the facade of It's a Small World is covered in different Santa hats and beautiful lights and wreaths. Just every moment, every street is different than you would normally expect, and they do such a great job about adding that value to your tickets during that time. So back to the Festival of Holidays. So at Disney's California Adventure, they are doing the Festival of Holidays. So the official park map that we picked up, it just has a short blurb about Disney's Festival of Holidays, and this is what it says. It says, discover a holiday celebration inspired by diverse cultural festivities filled with food, music, and dance. What they had is they have food booths lining the streets, basically where World of Color is, that stretch, and they have delicious offerings of savory and sweet foods that are really comfort foods that you would want to have around the holiday times and are offered around the world. Everything looked delicious, smelled delicious, and really, really a fun tradition to be serving that. They also have different performances. So when we were walking past, they had a stage out where World of Color normally is, which is under refurbishment right now. And they had gospel singers that were singing different holiday carols, and I just love that. It was so much filled with holiday spirit and magic. They also have Santa Claus available to visit at the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail. So this says, the elves have taken over the trail to create some holiday magic. Meet jolly old Saint Nick during his visit to the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail through December 24th. So if you don't have another opportunity to visit Santa, this is a great opportunity to do so. We didn't want to spend the time to visit Santa at that point because we can visit him here in Phoenix anytime. But if you're local or if you have the time to do so, what a fun way to bring the holidays even closer to home at Disney by visiting Santa Claus. So Disneyland also offers a couple unique entertainment options for the holiday time, and that is the parade and the fireworks. And I have to tell you the truth, we didn't watch either one because we didn't have the time. So I can't tell you much about them, but the parade is called a Christmas Fantasy Parade, and it does twice a day for most days. And then the fireworks are called Believe in Holiday Magic Fireworks Spectacular. And what I've heard about that is that it does snow on Main Street. So they have some type of magic that has snow in Southern California right on Main Street. So what more could you ask for? So those are the different holiday offerings that is available at the Disneyland Resort during holiday time. So they started the holiday decorations on November 9th, and they go through the first of the year. So if you're going to be visiting at all in November or December, you'll get to see these. So if you are going to visit, let me know. Go ahead and post down in the comments or shoot me a message. I'd love to hear what you're planning and if you have any questions about what to expect while you're there. So my final thoughts is do visit the Disneyland Resort during the holidays. It is such a great time. It was so festive. You know, like I said, we visited on November 12th. So I was not thinking even about Christmas at that point. But after I went, I was ready to put my tree up, to put the lights up, to start the music, because it just filled me with the holiday spirit. And what better than to stretch out the season even longer. So I was so glad that my family got to go experience that. So I hope you enjoyed this Kingdom Chat, and we'll be coming again next week with a new episode. So say goodbye, Elliot.
Bye.